I've just spent another week developing Submerged Scoundrels, so let's get into the progress that we've made so far and how the game's looking like. So first, what we saw last week is that I added a convoy to the game. This is another mission for the player to complete. Go out, destroy the convoys, return the loot, and sell it, get XP and gold. And then I also upgraded the movement system to be fully physics-based, based off the Roblox physics system. And I added a full upgrade shop so that you can upgrade a ton of different aspects of your submarine, so that when you're getting loot and you're getting rewards, your submarine can get better and you can go out and do better missions. Now, that's what I did last week. I did a ton of stuff this week that I think you guys are going to love, and I think it made a great addition to the game. With the first one being, I made the spawn island have some actual decoration. So now it looks like a pirate cove. I made it based off of a pirate cove. I made it look like something you would see in Sea of Thieves or Pirates of the Caribbean, something like that, to keep with the pirate theme and to really emphasize that the first thing the player sees once they enter this game is it first and foremost is a pirate game. Yes, it's more modern with submarines, but it is still trying to emphasize that it is a pirate game. I think this looks really cool. I've been adding a bunch of your guys' player models around the island. I think it's going to look great. I'm adding a lot more to this island over time, but I think this is a great starting point, and I like the cannons. I did add some torpedoes to kind of give that submarine effect, and then this actually works as the gateway. You will go onto the submarine and then teleport to whatever island is going to be yours for your playthrough, similar to kind of how the outposts work in Sea of Thieves, where each player kind of gets their own to start out from and then can go anywhere else. Moving on, I added a new type of combat into the game, and these are your weapons. You have guns now. So because this is a more modern pirate game, I'm going with more modern weapons, not the traditional maybe blunderbuss or muskets that we see in Sea of Thieves, but the more traditional rifles, pistols, and shotguns. And the first thing I did was I added a gun locker onto the submarine, and this also includes an ammo crate where you can refill your ammunition. And this is where you're going to get the 3 starting weapons. I included an M16 for your rifle, a shotgun, and an M9 for your pistol. And I think these are some really cool basic weapons that the player should have plenty of opportunity to use against other players, other NPCs, and to protect themselves and defend their island along with their treasure. But with these, I am going to be adding a ton of more weapons throughout development. I'm thinking RPGs, miniguns, machine guns, things like that. And then also maybe missions centered around them. So with a new naval base that I'll highlight later in the video, maybe being able to grab guns from there and then use that throughout your playthrough. I'm really excited for this. I think it's a really cool feature. It's another great combat system, and I think one of the key parts of this game is going to be the player versus player combat, both on and off the submarine, along with being able to go onto naval bases and use those weapons. So here's a few clips of demonstrating them. I was able to create custom animations for every single one of these, of one equipping and holding and then reloading them as well. And it was the first time I actually added sound to the game, and that's something I'm going to be doing to a lot more things coming into the future as we're looking into polishing and testing this game, is adding sounds to the submarine, engine sounds, torpedo sounds, those sorts of animations and sounds as well. But this is my first step into using the Roblox animation system, especially for the player, and I think it turned out really great. I'm really happy with that. There are a few changes I'm going to make to the system, and the first one is I actually played some Dead Rails this week with a friend, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed that game, and I think I'm going to make the game first person based off of my experience of that. And then I'm also going to change the gun system. Right now, the bullet fires starting from the position of the rifle, which is cool, realistic, but it's not how it should actually work in game, because you can't actually fire up and down. You can't change the direction of your gun. You can only move the player, and it's really bad for trying to aim. It's really atrocious with that. So I'm going to make it so it's first person. Your cursor is locked in the center of the screen, and that's how you're going to be able to aim, is by moving your cursor around and then aiming based off of that. It's going to be a lot easier to aim that way, and that's how most first person shooters are. I'm really happy with how it's turned out, but it is really hard to aim, and with testing it's really bad. And I know that if I were to give that to players, they would not like it in the slightest. So that's something I'm going to change, and I'm going to get more feedback on that once we get into testing. And then the biggest feature I think I added all week, and really the coolest one, I think, is the naval base. I took one of the islands that I had added and I transformed it into a complete, fully functioning naval base. It has a bunch of cool things. It has some destroyers parked at it. There's a full dock, and then inside of it, there's a bunch of missiles. There's some bunkers, ammo storage, armories, and then a full intelligence gathering station. And I'm planning a lot of cool missions around this, starting with the intelligence extraction mission. I started working on that this week. Basically, the player has to get in end out as quickly and quietly as possible, emphasizing that it's not just a mission where they go in, try and kill everyone as soon as possible, because there's going to be penalties for that, and there's going to be different things working around with that mission. I'm really excited for this, and this is where I'm going to start off next week. But I really like this naval base. It's my first time really building anything in Roblox. The Pirate Cove was basically just one model I found off the marketplace that I threw a bunch of stuff on. But this one I kind of built from scratch. A lot of these things are models, but I was putting them together, building it, creating this fence. I think it's a really cool base. I've had a lot of fun exploring it, and I know you guys will as well. And it's really another cool part of the game, just adding more content for the player. And that's really my main goal right now, is just providing as much content as possible for every different type of playstyle. If you want to do PvP, you have your guns, you have your torpedoes, you can go hunt down other submarines. If you want to go do missions, you have the convoys, and now you have the naval bases. And if you want to do both, that's going to be an option too, because this naval base is going to be sort of like the forts in Sea of Thieves, basically, where it's going to be activated, and you're going to the entire map is going to know that it's activated, and if you want the loot, you have to go get it, and you have to go fight for it. So I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited to continue with this feature, and I think it's going to really be a cool thing. And I'm planning to add more of these bases around. I'm already thinking of maybe an airfield for the desert, and kind of just sprucing it up and adding stuff on these islands that are fun to interact with. And not all of them are going to be missions. Some of them are just going to be go see this area and maybe get more guns, or maybe get more supplies, things like that. And if you have any ideas, please let me know. Join the Discord to let me know. But then let's pull up, every week we do this, let's pull up the Trello board and see what we have in store for next week, because I'm really excited for how much development we've done and how much progress we've made. But looking ahead, we are almost done with what I'm considering for the naval bases. Of course, there's going to be a ton of updates in the future, adding a ton more naval bases, and I have like 10 different missions planned out for these naval bases, as you can kind of glimpse on the side of this screen. But I'm really just looking for one for testing and then eventual launch, and checking that feature off. Once I'm done with that, I really want to move on to the sonar system, because I think that's going to be a very integral part of any submarine game. And I think it's going to be a really cool system that I still haven't fully thought of how I want to implement and develop. But I think it's going to be a really cool system, and I'm really excited to start working on that. And then I'm also looking at the engine type to get to work on this next week. So different engines that have different strengths and weaknesses: diesel, gasoline, nuclear, different things that you're going to have to upgrade and potentially research. I'm wondering as well, adding that aspect into the game. But I'm trying to keep the scope limited. These are the things I'm looking at for the next week. And then I also really want to start working on making the environment come alive. So we have a bunch of these islands out here. I really like how the naval base looks now, that it's actually, there's people on it, there's NPCs, and there's buildings. I want the rest of the world to start coming alive, so that when you enter this world, there are things to see and things to do and things to keep you entertained. So when you go in the submarine, I want to see sea creatures, sea turtles, whales, dolphins, fish, things like that, and then start adding plants and vegetation to the sea floor as we get closer to launch. But these are the things I'm looking at this next week. We're getting really close. We're almost 2/3 of the way to what I'm considering for release. I'm going to say that development's probably going to slow a little bit after next week. I'm still going to try and keep up with the daily updates, but I am doing some things for most of July, early July, that I'm not going to be able to work on this game nearly as much as I've been able to. But my plan is, once I get back, to come back swinging and have this game released by the end of July. We're going to start testing pretty much as soon as I get back, and hammering out these final features. And then when hopefully by the end of July, this game will be in your hands and you guys will be able to play it. That's my goal for this. I may not be able to keep with that schedule, hopefully by the latest early August, but I'm really excited with how this game's coming. I think it's really cool. And honestly, if I didn't have to take a break in a week and a half or so, I would be thinking about releasing it by the end of June. I'm really excited for this. I hope you guys are too. Let me know down in the comments down below what you guys think, what you guys want to see. If you have any comments, concerns, criticisms, anything you want to say about the game, I'm all ears. I've really enjoyed your feedback. Please join the Discord. That'll be where all the updates are. That'll be where I get all my testers from. And I'm really excited for this game, and I hope you guys are too. So hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will see you guys in a week for the next devlog. See you later. Bye.